Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Enjoy your life. The art of interpersonal relationship exemplified in the Prophet's biography by Dr. Muhammad Abdurrahman Al-Arifi. They will not benefit. I remember receiving a message on my mobile phone that said, "Eminent Sheikh, teacher, scholar, what is the ruling on suicide?" I called the questioner. A young man picked up the phone. I said, "I'm sorry, but I don't understand your question. Can you repeat it?" He replied, sounding totally frustrated. "The question's clear. What's the ruling on suicide?" I wanted to surprise him with an answer that I knew he was least expecting, so I laughed and said, "Recommended." He screamed, "What?" I said, "What do you think about brainstorming together on the method of your suicide?" The young man fell silent. I asked, "Why do you want to kill yourself?" He said, "I can't find a job. People don't like me. I'm a failure to begin with." And he went on and on, telling me a long story about his failure to develop himself and his lack of interest in benefiting from the skill he had at his disposal. Why do some of us perceive ourselves to be an inferior when our eyes notice to standing atop the mountain? Why do we feel incompetent about reaching the pinnacle as they have, or at least climbing the mountain? A poet said, and those who fear climbing mountains will remain forever in the depth. Do you know who will never benefit from this or similar books? They are those poor souls who surrender to their mistakes and accept their ability or lack thereof and say, "This is how I have been raised. I've gotten used to this and I can't change my ways. People have gotten used to me being this way. I cannot match Khalid eloquence or Ahmad's cheerfulness or Ziyad's popularity among people. It's impossible." One day I sat with a very elderly man in a public gathering that consisted of ordinary laymen. One elderly man was exchanging small talk with the one sitting beside him. He was just another person in the gathering, having no advantage over the others except in terms of old age. I gave a short talk and mentioned a fatwa, religious ruling of the great scholar Sheikh Abdul Aziz Ibn Baz. When I finished speaking, this man proudly said to me, "Sheikh Ibn Baz and I were classmates. We studied in the mosque with Sheikh Muhammad Ibrahim 40 years ago." I turned to look at him and found him beaming with joy at this fact. He was overjoyed that he had accompanied a successful man for a day in his life. I couldn't help repeating to myself, "Poor guy, why didn't you become successful like Ibn Baz?" When Ibn Baz died, why do pulpits, prayer quarters and libraries cry over him and the masses mourn over his loss? One day you will die, and perhaps no one will cry over you except out of custom or courtesy. All of us may one day say that we know so and so, studied with so and so, or sat with so and so. There is nothing special about that. What is special is the way they tower at the peaks with their successes. So be a champion and firmly convince yourself that you will benefit from your abilities. Be successful. Convert your frown into a smile, your grief into cheerfulness, your miserliness into generosity, and your anger into tolerance. Turn your calamities into festivities and your faith into a weapon. Enjoy your life. Life is short. There is no time for depression. As for finding out how to do that, this is why I have written this book. Stay with us and we will achieve our objective by Allah's consent. We retain. A champion is one who has resolve and persistence to enhance his or her skills and benefit from his or her abilities.